Taurus, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late April 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Taurus collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the beautiful Taurus collective in late April as we move out of Aries season right on in to one of the most lovely times of year, Taurus season? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Taurus in late April. What's the vibe? What's the energy? And while we get this card out, I just want to wish every single one of you, specifically those of you on this Aries cusp, a very happy birthday. I know we're just starting Taurus season. It might still be at the back end of Aries, but some of you will see this in Taurus season. So happy birthday to you, my good friends. Hope it's a great one. Okay, so we have this intriguing card, and I feel like it showed up for one of the other signs this week. And it seems pretty inconspicuous. I always say that when I look at it, but there's a lot of strategy and stuff going on underneath the surface. The biggest thing with this card is planning. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the April subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So again, it seems pretty simple, right? When we look at it, we have this lovely lady. She's like wrapped up in a blanket. We have a kitty cat, a butterfly that seems to be escaping out of that cage. We have a chessboard, and the queen is in red, which kind of implies that she is the queen, and she is figuring out and strategizing how to tackle something, right? So I always think planning first. Now, aside from strategy and planning, again, Spirit might be saying, like, hey, Taurus, just move in a very strategic fashion with whatever situation you're dealing with. Maybe someone you're connected to is moving in a strategic fashion as well. That's very possible. But if we put that message to the side, we'll put that in a nice little basket. This card to me does also speak of complexity. So there might be certain situations you're dealing with that might seem inconspicuous, very simple from an outside looking in perspective. But if you're actually in it, it's like, oh, it's not that easy, not that simple. There's a lot more going on underneath the surface. So, and just watch out for having too much on your mind, too much on your plate too. So this card has a few different messages to it. Try not to burn the candle at both ends, but we're going to let her chill out. She's planning, right? Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Taurus. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. The energy looked pretty good to me. The reading was titled The Surprising Offer. There was a lot of ace energy, fresh, new type of energy. And whenever I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, it's offers or opportunities. So I saw great stuff potentially for work and business related things. Now, can an offer be an emotional offer as well? Absolutely. So just keep that in mind as you go through the next couple of weeks, because the energy could bleed over. Could have a lot of things popping up and a lot of offers being made. So we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else's, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Taurus. What do we got in late April as we start Taurus season? Thank you. Cool. All right. So we have the Ten of Wands. That's actually a card that I don't dislike for a Taurus reading. There's like some other signs where if I saw this Ten of Wands, I'm like, oh, yikes. But I actually think for a Taurus reading, it's actually pretty good, because Taurus to me is one of those signs that work well under pressure. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles that popped out with it, one of your power cards. So let's get one more out here before we start piecing this all together. Let's get one more here for my good Taurus friends. Okay. Yeah, Page of Cups. So the conversation energy. For the Earth signs, I've just been picking up so many people for some reason. So let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know me, I always like to look at the elements. I feel like that frames the reading and it tells us how things are flowing. And the good thing about your elements this week, they're split pretty even, right? I always say when there's too much of one element, the reading could get lopsided. The energy could be lopsided. But you have fire, earth, and water. These two, very comfortable place for Tauruses to be. Now, when it comes to fire, I always say that's the realm of action. So the actions we take, the actions other people take, the actions that we want to take. Think of passion, drive, desire, motivation. It's that get up and go. It could also represent health and wellness, right? So big thing with energy levels. The downside to fire is that sometimes it could be a little explosive, right? It could be a little unpredictable, where it looks like it's going one way but it takes a turn on you. So in the center, the energy does seem to ground it down because we have earth, which is your power element, your comfort zone. Very good place for Taurus to be. Earth speaks about security, stability, inner and outer. It could be routine, day to day life, ritual, stuff like that. It could be work, money, finances. So I usually like that, especially for career related things. It could be home and family. So when I see earth, I think of the material world around us. So these are external energies. It's like we have the actions that are happening around us, and we have the world that we play in, the sandbox, right? And then over here we have water, which again works very well with Taurus energy. Now that's more matters of the heart, that's internal. So things, people that we're emotionally invested in, things that we care about. I always say water is like very creative and artistic and expressive. It's usually very, very good. The downside to water is that sometimes it could be a little overwhelming. So especially with the combos we have going on here, just watch out for feeling overwhelmed or trapped. But let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, the Ten of Wands. Now, I did mention that for other signs, I'm like, this might be rough, but I think it's okay for Taurus. Really do. So we see this person, they have that big bundle of sticks in their hand, and usually they're depicted walking up a hill. The good aspect of this card is the determination. This is one that does not quit, does not stop. When its mind is set on something, it follows through, even if it's difficult. So even if you're not going through an ideal situation or time right now, this Ten of Wands tells me, like, yeah, nothing's stopping me. I'm going to keep it pushing here, which is great. When we see the Ten of Wands, we do think of a burdensome type of energy, and that could show up in a lot of different ways. So whether it's a mental burden, an emotional burden, physical burden, all of it could be in play because this is a very heavy energy. It's dense. So whether it's tied to a situation, tied to a person, or just the overall energy in general, um, energy levels could be a little up and down as well. There could be certain things that you feel tired or drained by when this card is here. So there's good things, but there's also things to watch out for. And I always say when it comes to physical health and body, watch out for areas like your neck, back, and spine when this card shows up. You might be holding a lot of tension there, even if you don't realize it. Now, moving to the middle, we have one of your power cards. So it is like a nice little bounce back. We have the Knight of Pentacles, beautiful. So this could be another earth sign as well. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And I always say knights represent action to me. They're action and they're communicating. So whether it is a talk or conversation or the moves that someone's making, but the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest mover. Like it really thinks things through before it does it, or it's doing something very slowly and meticulously. So it's funny that we had the planning with the first Oracle card. Now we have the Ten of Wands with the Knight of Pentacles. It's like slowly, I'm going to drip feed this. I'm going to slowly pace myself. So if that's what you're doing with something, taking your time, not being rushed, that could actually be the way to go. Like there is no rush. Where's the rush? Where's the fire, right? So I think this can be great. The only downside to the Knight of Pentacles, if we take away the communication, conversation aspect, um, sometimes it could seem as if it's not making a lot of progress. So like when I see the 10 wands with the Knight of Pentacles, it's like, is this progressing? Is anything even happening? So we're going to have to look into this as we get into the clarifiers. And again, my simple style, this could just represent something that's coming towards you or what you might be feeling when we clarify it. Now on the back end, this is very optimistic to me. We have the Page of Cups, beautiful water sign energy. So Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, this could represent a younger individual as well. And pages, they're also communicators, right? So we have like the knights, communicators, pages, communicators. So there could be something here that's a little chatty, a lot of talking, a lot of conversation going on. So we're going to have to see how that all plays out, especially since we had the offer last week. And yeah, pages, messengers, students. So it's great for learning new things. Now, the thing with the Page of Cups in particular, this is an energy that wants to get something off its chest. This is an energy that likes to have those deep types of conversations. The downside to the Page of Cups, sometimes it can second guess itself. Sometimes there might be something that it wants to say or something that it wants to speak about. And the Page of Cups could get very shy or say, should I have not said that? Should I have never brought that up at all? So, like, there's some interesting particular stuff here this week, but I want to dive deeper on all of it, Taurus. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay. Let's get a good shuffle here for my friends. What do we have? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation. I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that 10 of Wands. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Taurus, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is that 10 of Wands here? Why is that 10 of Wands? Okay. I mean, the Seven of Pentacles and the upright, yeah, sometimes this is karmic energy too, but it's also a very patient energy. So when I see that with the 10 of Wands, it's like there is no rush. There could be a situation or something going on where Spirit's like, hey, even if this seems urgent, even if this seems like something where it's like, hey, I want to rip the Band-Aid off and get this over with. When I see the 10 of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, it's like there's no rush. Now, hopefully this isn't something that's making you feel trapped or stuck. For some of you, that could be the case. But I don't really think it is for all of you, right? Like when I see the 10 of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, it's like slower is better. So there could be something, a situation, whatever it is, where Spirit's like slow, better. The slower you move, the better. Now, the Seven of Pentacles is a huge card of payoffs. We see this person waiting for those pentacles to bloom so they can reap that reward, right? So I do like it. When I see the 10 of Wands with the Seven of Pentacles, there is a payoff at the end of the road. And we'll see how that goes as we move through the reading itself. So maybe there is something, a process or situation you've been dealing with that will pay off for you in the end. That's great. That's a beautiful silver lining. But I think for the most part, there could be something going on where Spirit is saying, like, hey, the slower, the better. So there might be certain things where you're tempted to just like put the pedal to the metal and just let it rip. But I don't know. There's just something here about the pacing of something where it's like slow it down. Slower, the better. Like don't overdo it. So we're just going to keep moving. I mean, it's not bad. But if it's going to pay off in the end, then like why rush it if it's going to pay off anyway, right? So let's see what the Knight of Pentacles has. Now we're going to get into the communication aspect. So why is that Knight here? That's a big one. The next two cards could be pretty important. This energy feels a little slippery. All right, so we have the Eight of Wands in reverse underneath this Knight of Pentacles. Again, there is this really, really strong theme about pacing, right? Because usually the Eight of Wands is an energy that's like full flight, full go. It's one of the fastest cards in the whole entire deck, right? Like we see the 8 arrows cutting through the sky. This is another communication card as well. So when I see it in reverse underneath this Knight of Pentacles, either one, this is something where it's like, yeah, but I really don't want to talk about that. I really don't want to discuss this. So for some Tauruses, maybe there's certain situations that you're just tired of talking about, or you feel like there's not much to even really say about it at this point. But there is also this little bit of a slippery energy too that I'm picking up, where it's like it's hard to get a straight answer with something or to get clarity. So watch out for that, especially with anyone you're talking to or dealing with, where it's like they're not answering directly. They're like doing little loops. So there is something here about communication for sure that we need to keep a close eye on. But I do also feel Knight of Pentacles, Eight of Wands fits our overall theme of like the slower, the better. Like slow it down. There's no rush. Like just let something work how it needs to work. Like the slower, the better. That's the best way to put it. So we're going to keep moving. See what that Page of Cups has. So we got a lot of intriguing stuff this week, right? We got patience and stuff paying off and slow, slow, slow. Let's see what the Page of Cups has. And we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. Yeah, the slippery energy too, where it's like it's not being very direct. Okay. Yeah, and there it goes. All right, so this one individual might speak enough for both people involved. I hate saying that, but that's kind of how it feels. So we have the Ace of Cups where it's like someone fills in their own blanks, where like I'm asking you a question to give me like a roundabout answer. Now it's like, all right, well, I got to fill in the own blanks and assume that this is the case. So there is something here around an important or serious talk of some kind, but like how someone's treating it, it just feels like they're not being very direct here. That's initially what I'm picking up. Now, the Ace of Cups fits this page theme very good. This energy that feels clunky and very slow does open up in a very big way. Like this is huge for conversation and an energy actually flowing. So it's like if this energy is leaving gaps, this energy will fill the gaps. I don't want to say it's like assuming, but it kind of is, if that makes sense. Aces are great for offers and opportunities, just like I saw last week. So we have this strong energy of good new energy coming to you. And maybe that's why all this energy here, where it's like slow, the slower the better, the slower the better, because it's like the energy is coming to me anyway. That's kind of how this is feeling. But yeah, there's really strong energy around an important or serious talk here. And you may have had that a few weeks ago as well. It's still showing up here this week. But it's like someone is bearing the brunt of it, if that makes sense. Where it's like one person is doing most of the talking, the other person's doing a lot of the listening, and filling in the gaps. It's so specific. So again, only take this how it hits for you. I would not press somebody for information in this time. That's another thing, because like with all this energy, it's like someone pressing for information. It kind of feels like an interrogation a little bit, where it's like, listen, if I don't want to tell you, I'm not going to tell you. I don't know why that's coming through so specific, but let's go through and do a quick recap, and we'll get into the shadows. So we got a lot of cool things this week. Hopefully, if you kindly look in the box, position number one, we got the Ten of Wands with the Seven of Pentacles. The slower, the better. I said it multiple times. I'm saying it again. There could be something, either you're taking your time with it, or it's better to take the slow road than the quick road. This energy does pay off at some point, so that's good. So whether it's a situation you're dealing with or a person, it's like, no, the slower road is more optimal for some reason. Moving to the middle, we have the Knight of Pentacles, Eight of Wands in reverse. This energy seems comfortable taking that slow road. I did say it does feel a little slippery, where like you might be asking someone a direct question and they're like kind of sidestepping it, skirting the issue. Um, it's just something to watch out for, because we do have this important or serious energy around communication, where maybe there is something that needs to be discussed, or definitely should be, but it's like all the work or all the information's coming from one side, right? Because when we get here to the back, I have the Page of Cups with the Ace of Cups in the upright, where this energy is doing like a lot of the verbal heavy lifting, where it's filling in the gaps, and it does feel like it's pushing and pressuring and trying to get a little information. So I would say don't press somebody for information at the moment. Just kind of let it unfold, because obviously the more you pressure, the more it clams up. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into that further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for my Taurus friends. What do we got? And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end. So we're just going to get you one here, just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a bad thing. They could be good too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel. I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, what do we got here for Taurus, please? Thank you. Cool. Page of Swords. So it does fit this theme, right? Like, especially these three cards. So we have the Page of Swords in the shadows. And the Page of Swords, just like the Page of Cups, communication, conversation, also learning information. But this one is a bit more of a seeker, where it's like, there's something I need to figure out. There's something I want to learn. There's something I want to know. And that's the reason this card is called the Watcher of the Tarot deck, right? So whether it is an air sign you're connected to, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or it's just extremely, extremely observant, just know in this time, you might have more attention on you than you normally do when this card is here. So whether it is through work, whether it is through personal relationships, it's like someone might be observing or taking note, taking stock of how you're moving. For some of you, this could just be advice from spirit too, where it's like, hey, just keep an eye on this, right? Like, even if it's something you're not actively dealing with at the moment, it's worth keeping on your radar when this card shows up in the shadows. So we're going to put that page down right there, my good friends. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the April subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, or you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. But for the April subscriber surprise, we're doing a nice winner's choice once again. At the end of the month, I will choose 3 lucky subscribers to either win their choice of the Gilded Tarot Royale, or one of the custom-made crystal pendants from my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So winner's choice. And if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. And second, you can let me know down in the comments, how much do you know about the meanings of tarot cards? Are you an expert reader? Are you a beginner, intermediate? Do you know a lot? Do you know a little? You'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my posts tab. YouTube changed it. And yeah, that's where it'll be, my friends. Much love, and I'll talk to you soon.